Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your Vibe Mentor, bringing you another video on how to raise your vibration so you can live your best life. Pardon this bird. It is beautiful outside. I'm sorry, I'm not going to shut my windows. We'll see how he plays into the conversation because everything happens for a reason, always. So I just want to reiterate, we are part of the soul family. If you are here, if you watch these videos regularly, we are soul family and I would love to connect with you. So please do make sure you subscribe. Your connection to your soul family here is important. Even though it's just a little button here, it is an energetic connection, and we want to amplify the New Earth Construction team's connection ability and know that we truly are part of a family. Even if you don't want to be seen here, that connection is really important. So make sure you click that button and subscribe. All right, let's talk today about, what did we have on the docket? Oh, improv. Super, super fun. All right, so a really fun experience that I have had the pleasure of enjoying was something called Improv for Anxiety. And I'm so curious what kind of bird that is. Okay, he is a noisy one. So Improv for Anxiety. I joined Second City in Chicago when I lived there, close to 8 years ago now. 8 years ago when I left Chicago. And it was a bit nerve-wracking because if you are familiar with comedy or improv, Second City is a big, big deal. There are many very popular, well-known, extremely funny comedians who perform there, and many Second City comedians or improv professionals go on to do things like Saturday Night Live. So there's a lot of pressure, or at least it felt like a lot of pressure to me, even though we were not, pursuing any type of formal education. We weren't trying to be funny. We didn't have to be funny. The caveat was that we were just there to get over anxiety. And to this day, now that I look back at it, I really don't even recall how this came to me, or I don't even recall going out to look for it. So it must have been divinely orchestrated, because it really was impactful, and it was one of the most powerful experiences that I have ever gone through that had helped me overcome anxiety. And so we're going downtown into the inner city of Chicago, although I lived pretty much in the city. There's a lot of hustle and bustle. There's a lot of really funny people, and there's a little bit of pressure to be funny, even though I have high levels of anxiety about the time that I was experiencing this. This was probably 17 years ago. My son, maybe even 18, my son was not born then yet. So long time ago, very early on in the journey, before I had, experienced the dark night of the soul or even started awakening, at least as far as I can recall. So don't hold that against me if I'm wrong on my dates here. But point being, for someone with extreme levels of anxiety, at that point, it was difficult for me to look anybody in the eye. It was difficult for me to even speak in front of people. I was very early on in my corporate career. I loved hiding in my cubicle. Extreme levels of trauma in my childhood had led to the place where I just couldn't handle too many eyes on me. I couldn't handle the pressure of speaking in front of people. Just anyone looking at me sent my nervous system into a tizzy. And to sign up for something where I was at such high levels of anxiety that I was not only going to speak in front of people, but I was going to get on stage and act in a play, you could say, without a script. Right? So my anxiety was at such high levels that if I felt sort of that system shutdown come on me when someone had their eyes on me or wanted to just, especially if I felt put on the spot, that I would feel sort of this shutdown in my prefrontal cortex. And what I know now is that when our fight or flight system goes off, our prefrontal cortex is literally offline, because our fight or flight mechanism literally inflames that portion of our brain. So it makes sense now, but at the time I couldn't understand why my mind would go blank. There were things that I knew. It would also happen during tests. It was almost as if everything I had ever learned disappeared, and I could not access information that I knew. And so, what a crazy experience to put myself in, to be up on this stage, to be acting with people I didn't know, putting myself in the hands of other people. So, the rules of improv are number one, first and foremost, yes and. You are not allowed to say no. And this is kind of the whole point of the video, is the most impactful thing that I ever experienced was that I could not say no. Yes and means you have to play with what you are given. You cannot have resistance to it. And so I would get up there shaking and nervous. And what I found was, of course, you're not supposed to put your back to the audience, but I would kind of find a little bit of an angle that made me feel like, okay, at least I can't see them. They can see me enough. And to be able to just engage and to be really present with that person. There's so many things about improv. If you have the opportunity to do it, if you struggle with anxiety, if you struggle with resistance to life, if you struggle with saying yes and, definitely give it a try, because it is so tremendously impactful on the spiritual journey, but also fun. So much fun. One of the funnest times I've ever had, just laughing profusely to the point of feeling dizzy. Some of the craziest things. And so what you do is you get up on stage, as you and this other person. For us, the instructor would give us sort of a scene. They would set the scene for us. They would tell us, you're this person, you're that person, this is where you are. Maybe they would give us, maybe you're riding a pink elephant, or maybe you're wearing boots up to your thighs, or something really ridiculous. Sometimes the crowd would come up with the scene and the circumstances, and you have to play with them. And so you set the scene, you set the stage. One person chooses to go first, and they get to say whatever they want to say. They can say, okay, you're riding a pink elephant up a mountain, and you only have a Snickers bar and a half a bottle of water, and you have a trip that is going to take you 12 months to get up this mountain, and go. And maybe you bring along the partner. And so I'm not going to do a very good job of being very funny and creating something fun for you, but then the other person will come in and they will shift and change your experience. And you have to say yes and then you get to shift and change their experience. And then they say yes and you build on it. And it becomes so funny and so freeing and expansive, because there's no way to determine what they're going to come up with or what they're going to say. And it's bound to be funny and hilarious, because you can't anticipate it and you can't expect it, and you're forced to be open to it and allow it and roll with it. And there is such a experience of freedom that comes through that. Freedom and playfulness and openness, and we drop all of the resistance, we drop all of the control, the hypervigilance. And I think part of what anxiety, I think how this helps with anxiety is because anxiety is partially coming from a place of control, needing to have everything under control and worrying about it so much and thinking ahead and trying to plan and trying to anticipate and worrying and mulling over, that you're forced to release. That we're in this mode, we're in that fight or flight, masculine resistance, hyper control, and you're forced to surrender, allow, open in your feminine state, allowing your ability to receive. And in this state, there is pain, there is suffering. But in this state, there is joy, there is playfulness, there is creation, there is expansion, there's freedom. Now you can take that and put it in the terms of psychology, that in this state, you are in the sympathetic nervous system, which is hypervigilance, which is fight or flight, which is an acidic environment, which means you're creating disease. Or you can move into surrender and allowing and embracing what is, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, growth and repair, creation, which is a alkaline state of being in your body, which heals. And so improv can help us see how to have fun with life. Another one of the beautiful rules of improv is if you fall down, if you trip, if you have a faux pas, if you mess up, and you can break the scene by saying no or by ending it. And if you make the mistake of inadvertently ending it before it should, or you can't think of anything else and that's just kind of the end of the scene, you're instructed to take a bow. So if you fall down, if you make a mistake, if you mess up, take a bow. Say yes and new scene. Find that ability to set down the resistance. Because resistance is the very thing that is keeping us in the 3D, in the 4D, in the struggle, in the pain, in the same stuck place we've always been. It is our ability to surrender, to say yes and I am fully supported. I can't wait to see how funny and amazing. I can't wait to see the miracles that are going to show up for me. Use improv as an example of how to live your life and say yes and. With that, I'll close. I love you guys so much. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me just a little emoji comment. It's super helpful for the YouTube algorithm. Otherwise, click this button to connect to your soul family. Make sure you get notified of the next video. And this video, if you'd like to continue the conversation today, is customized to your preferences. So make sure to check it out. All right. I love you, my friends. I will see you on the next video. Take care. Namaste.